I'll show you from start to finish how to set up a Microsoft Teams business phone system that works just like your current analog or digital phone system, but much better and better integrated with the Microsoft tools you already use. Specifically, I'll show you how to implement the Microsoft Shared Calling Plan, which is the most cost-effective solution to get Microsoft Teams Phone for your business. And we just installed this Teams phone system for a local small business here with about 7 employees. And although it might seem a little bit complicated to set up a phone system, if you follow my steps exactly as I show you, you'll be able to do this yourself without any IT help. My name is Bogdan Ciperny, founder of Apex One Tech. All my content is free to you. All I ask is that you subscribe and smash the like button. Okay, so the overview of what we're going to accomplish here today. So this shows you the call flow of an external user. So someone outside your organization, they just want to talk to someone at your business. So that's them right here. They're placing a call. It goes through, right? They're placing a call to this business phone number that you have. It goes to an auto attendant, which is just like a front desk, your receptionist, except it's automated, right? Auto attendant. So first thing to know here is that it can handle unlimited number of calls. Okay, so you only need one business phone number. You don't have to purchase more. That's the advantage here. So this auto attendant has a greeting message, right? Welcome, hello, you've reached Apex One Tech, and it spills out the menu op. For example, the menu options can be like press 1 for user 1, okay, for Bogdan. Press 2 for another user. It can be like, you can have 3 be a whole group of people, so it can dial them all at once, for example. Okay, so maybe there's a certain group of people that handle new jobs or new requests, and that can be number 3, for instance, okay? Or maybe signing up for something. Then press 4, and this can be maybe a little bit better than a group of people. It can be a call queue, which is also a group of people, but it kind of different ways to selectively choose who is going to call in that call queue, okay? So that's perfect for an IT help desk, right? Like a support team, billing department. So maybe you have 2 people in the billing department, but if someone presses 4, it's just going to call one of them. And the next time it'll call the other person or something like that. So that's all configurable. And then of course, you can press 0 to talk to the operator. And by default, if the external caller doesn't make a selection, it'll go to the operator. So now for each of these users, we're going to set up or get a license for a Teams phone standard plan. Okay, so that's where the cost comes in here. So whoever you have in that plan, they're going to need a license. And then after that, so whatever selection someone makes here, right, they either answer the call or they don't. So if they answer the call comes in to your mobile app. So right on your phone, your Teams app that you already use for chat and video calls, or on your desktop Teams app, or also on a desk phone. So if you have a voice over IP desk phone, that can also be used. And then, right, if someone doesn't answer, there's a lot of different things you can do here. This is just simplified, but for instance, it can go to your voicemail with a transcription, to your email, all those good things, okay? And now for the outbound call, okay, so one of you or your employees, someone makes a call, whoever is in this group, in that phone system that you've added, any of these people can make a call. So they place a call and the outbound calls are charged. Okay, so you're paying for that. You just need one license for that. So inbound calls are free. Outbound calls you're paying per minute. It's like 2 cents, something like that. So then if you place a call, you can do so again via the same devices. So the app, the desktop apps, your desk phone, you just dial a number or choose a contact. And now the caller ID that's shown to whoever you're trying to reach is that business phone number. So that one phone number that you're paying for is that same business phone number that's shown. And, that person answers the call or not, it just looks like a regular phone call from their end. So we'll set up something just like this, okay, just like what I showed you. And at the end, we'll even do an example, a demo call to see how this all works. All right, so overview of what we're going to cover. And I'll have this linked for you from Microsoft, but I kind of have my own steps that I think flow a little bit better. So we'll have to buy the licenses, and I'll show you exactly which ones to buy in which order, assign them. We have to enable voice for users, okay? So for that, there's actually a PowerShell command, but I'll show you what to do there. So we're going to get a main phone number. We're going to set up resource account, set up the auto attendant. So the resource account is for the auto attendant. Then we have a bunch of policies to set up and assign. and then that's it, okay? And I'll show you how that works. So this tutorial assumes you have at least Microsoft Business Basic, which is kind of the cheapest thing you can get into. It also works with Enterprise, of course. So even if you have this one, 365 Business Basic, you know that Teams comes with it, and what we're going to be purchasing is just add-ons. So same thing, if you're here with Standard, Premium, all of these, we're going to go into Microsoft 365 Admin Center and purchase add-ons. Okay, so we will need to get a couple of Microsoft Team licenses. Now, if you're getting to this page, it's not this, okay? Even if you purchase some of these Microsoft Teams bundles that they have, you'll still need additional licenses. So for each user that's going to be a part of this phone system that can dial in and out externally, they're going to need a Teams phone system license. And then we're also going to purchase one calling plan. And that's basically for the main business phone to work. For that auto attendant to work, we need a calling plan. So I'll show you how to get the pay-as-you-go one, the most cost-effective, but you can also get one that's prepaid if you actually do a lot of calls. So let's buy some licenses. We're here in Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Let's go to billing. And if you don't see that, just click Show All. Then Purchase Services. Then you want to search, so let's go All Products. And you want to search for this specific thing, okay? So Microsoft Teams calling plan, pay as you go. So they might change the name in the future, but just see that's, you know, a specific. Okay, so for now it is still called the same thing. And you see there's a trial available, so we'll go ahead and get that. So let's click on details. Okay, so select this trial version, and we just need one license. Okay, so 1 month, yes, pay monthly. Okay, now you want to click here to prerequisites, and it'll kind of show you everything else that you need to, well, you don't need all of this, but I'll tell you some of these things that you need to purchase as well. And so because we can purchase this, we want to first get this Microsoft Teams phone standard. So it's showing that it's free, meaning there's a trial here. It's not free. So let's maybe open this in a new tab, details, okay. Okay, so here auto populates, so this is a trial, okay, and that is what we want. So otherwise you'll see, for example, the standard. So let's go by month, pay monthly, it's $9.60. So if there's a promo, it'll tell you a promo price. Okay, yearly is typically cheaper, but you can just double check that. So right now it's for $6 a month. Now this is the license that you want per user, okay? So we're going to go ahead back to the trial. And then here, trial includes 25 free licenses. Okay, so how many do we want after this, after this trial? So just put in however many users. I think for this one, I'll test it out with 3. Okay, and go ahead and click Start Free Trial. It's gonna load the checkout. Just proceed with your account. Okay, and so what's important to know here is that after the trial, we'll start at $8 a month, right? Which is the higher than the normal one. You can actually come back here later and just purchase the cheaper license, right? Like the promo one, that's $6 a month, and maybe lock that in for a year, okay? So for now, just keep that in mind. For now, we're just getting the trial. And at the bottom here, just place order. Okay, so we can close that. So let's go we need one more thing here. So if we go to prerequisites, let's go back to purchase services. So again, let's click here on this one that we previously searched. Just click details. We need to purchase a resource account here first, which is a free license actually. So it should be here in prerequisites. Let's select our plan again. So then look here for something called Microsoft Teams Phone Resource Account, okay? And let's go details. So right now we're just getting one. That's just if you want one auto attendant. So when you call in, right, it says like, hey, press 1 for this person, this department, 2 for this. So that's all we need. Otherwise, we can come back here and add more. So for now, just one for a month. That's fine. And just buy that. It's free. And it shows you here that it costs nothing. Just place order. Okay, great. We can close that. Now let's go back again to purchase services. Click here on this one again, details. Okay, and now if we select the trial, let's do a refresh here. Okay, so now it's allowing me to check this out. Okay, so just refresh that page. It understands that we now bought those 2 other licenses. So now we can purchase the calling plan license, the pay-as-you-go. So it automatically pops up here with the checkout. You can close that if you want to just see more details, but you can also increase the quantity. All we need is just one. And as you see, it costs just $3 per user. So this will be assigned to the auto attendant, and none of the other users need this. So, and this also is a free trial actually. So today total is $0. So it's $3. And then there's, you're paying for only the outbound calls that you do. And I'll give you details below on what the rate is, but it's quite inexpensive. Okay, yeah. So your rate is something right now, at least in US, something like 2 cents a minute, okay, for outbound calls. Okay, so just click place order. Okay, so one last thing we want to make sure is enabled. We can probably click here, but let me just show you how to get there. So go to, again, admin billing and go to your products. And scroll down, you want to find the pay-as-you-go plan. Okay, so still pending. So we want to scroll down. This is very important that you turn this on. Phone services consumption. So this must be turned to on. This just means that how they're going to charge for the outbound calls, right? So you won't be able to make calls if you do not turn this on. So just click on that. On kind of describes to you what I just told you. So you will have to have some kind of credit card on file to pay for this typically. And it'll let you know if you need to set that up or not. Okay, so just tells us here clearly that we turned on the pay-as-you-go option. Great. So we can close that. So now we purchased all the licenses that we need, and we're going to assign a license to each user. So we're here in billing still. Let's go to licenses. Then select the Teams Phone standard license, right? So our trial has 25 licenses. That's what we purchased, unless you purchased more. So here, again, we're selecting the end user. Okay, so like an employee, yourself. We're going to click assign licenses. This is for anybody who's going to be part of that phone system. So I'll add myself. Let's add Diana. Let's maybe add Marion. So this will all be part of our system here, and we just click assign. Okay, so that's all there. And next, we need to actually use PowerShell. So if you're familiar with Mac, there's an app called Terminal. And if you're on Windows, you have PowerShell installed. Okay, so don't worry if you have never used it. It's quite simple, and I'll show you exactly what you do. It's kind of like what doing this, but instead you're just typing out commands, okay? And all you're gonna do is just kind of copy paste and replace it with your own email addresses, okay? So it's quite simple. And if you are on a Mac, by the way, I'll probably have in the description, maybe up on the screen. You can also do this on the Mac through PowerShell, get it installed on the Mac, okay? So just watch those videos if you need to know how to do that. So I am on a Mac right now, so I'll open Terminal. And if you're on Windows, again, just search for PowerShell. Okay, so only if you're on a Mac, you're going to type in PWSH for PowerShell to first boot that up. Upgrade, no, we don't need to update, that's okay. All right, so now, same thing for every Windows or Mac. You first need to install the Microsoft Teams module, okay, into PowerShell. And to do that, and I'll have this in the description, you can just copy and paste this. Okay, so just paste that. That might be a little bit hard to see. So you just paste it and you hit return or enter. And here you're just allowing you access and you want to enter A, which means yes to all, and then hit enter. Okay, so it's gonna go through its thing and install Microsoft Teams module. Then the last thing here, just to get connected to Microsoft Teams, you want to paste this command, hit return. So now it's going to prompt you to sign into your administrative accounts. So click on, if you're typically the business owner, you'll be the admin as well. But you do need to be a Microsoft 365 admin, of course. Okay, so authenticated, we can close this browser now. And now you should see in PowerShell that we are connected. Okay, so now this is the command here that you're going to paste in to PowerShell to actually enable voice for that user. So all you do here is just replace this email address, user@domain.com, with the address of whoever you're adding. So for example, I will change that to myself here, right? And you want to make sure you're using the real email address, not like an alias or something like that. And you can go ahead and just repeat this for each user. So we also had, Okay, and just like that. So now I'm going to copy that and just paste it directly into PowerShell. Then hit return. Okay, so it went through line by line and it should have enabled it for all of us. Now, I'll show you later if this did not actually work out for you, you wouldn't be able to add these users to the auto attendant. So that's how you'll know, and maybe you'll need to go line by one instead of pasting it as a group, but this should work. Next, we will get a phone number. Now we're not buying it, you just acquire one from Microsoft. So let's go to the Teams now, Admin Center. Okay, now in this left sidebar, we want to go to voice and phone numbers. So whether or not you're going to be using your existing business phone number or you just need a new one now, you want to start out fresh, you still want to do this process of adding a new phone number here. Later on, you can just replace this when you port, right? That's when you can use your existing phone number and you can port it over, usually here with the Microsoft Teams phone system. But for now, just add a new phone number, and I'll have a video probably up top here somewhere in the description on how to port a number. But for now, let's click add. Okay, name of your order. This is just for our own record. So let's say main, right? This will be for who? For this business. Okay, let's go location. Okay, number types. This will be an auto attendant toll. And again, this, don't worry, it doesn't mean that, you don't need to be concerned about who's paying here for this. This is just your regular auto attendant here. So auto attendant toll. Now for operator, the way I'm showing all this is everything using Microsoft. Okay, there are other ways to set this up that you can use another service, another provider, and then have the kind of end user experience in Microsoft Teams. But this is all running through Microsoft. So we'll keep Microsoft. We just won't need one number. And you can see, kind of depending on how many licenses you have, saying we have 5 that we can actually purchase with this license, an auto attendant type of phone number. So here we can the best thing to do here is actually, it kind of will save you a step. We want to go ahead and add a location, which will also set our emergency address location. So let's go ahead and click here, add a location. Okay, and then you want to check mark this, that you understand how emergency calling works, that is going to use this location. Since it's internet-based calling, right? And it doesn't go through the system, and emergency caller doesn't necessarily know your location. So that's how this works. So click save. And then brings us back to the phone number that we were purchasing. So now we can start typing in the name of that emergency address name that we gave. So this one was Sacramento. So just start typing that and then click select. Then here, select your appropriate area code. That's how you want your number to start. So we're here in 916 and click next. So it's looking up a phone number right now. And now here, okay, so it gives you a reserved number that it found or reserved for you. And you basically have 10 minutes to decide whether or not you want to keep it. So unfortunately, it's not the kind of best system I have here. It's kind of nicer when they give you options that you can select from. And if you click back, I usually found it finds the same number unless you wait more than 10 minutes, okay? So if you're not happy with this number, if you're actually going to use this as your business number, then just, you can place this order for now. You can, purchase numbers in the future as well. But if you're porting a number, this doesn't matter at all, okay? So just click place order. Okay, so our order has been placed. Let's click finish. All right, so there's our phone number. Next, we will create a resource account. And again, that's just because you need one in order to set up an auto attendant. So each auto attendant or a call queue, they all need a resource account. So that's what we're setting this up for. So again, in the Teams Admin Center under voice, we scroll down all the way to resource accounts. Again, this is going to be used for the auto attendant. So I'll probably just call it, maybe something short for your business and then share the phone, something like that. So, and then for the address, for the email address, I basically do the same thing and just at the end, append it with RA for resource account. Then select the account type. So this is auto attendant. And if you are interested in creating a call queue, I'll have a video on that, how to create one as well. But usually you want to start first with an auto attendant anyways. So click save. Then we want to go back to the Microsoft 365 Admin Center and assign 2 licenses to this new resource account that we made. Let's go to users, active users. Then select the resource account you created. Go to licenses and apps. So we want to select the Teams Phone resource account and the calling plan that you purchased, okay? So that's all, save changes. Okay, the changes were saved, and don't worry about the sign in blocked. That's how it should be, okay? This is a resource account. So now we can go back to Teams. Let's refresh. Okay, and now we see that this resource account is licensed, and next we're going to create an auto attendant, and then we'll be able to assign a phone number to this resource account. Okay, so the auto attendant is in Teams admin, voice, and auto attendants. Okay, so here just click add. Okay, so it says operator optional. Honestly, you should have an operator. One of the issues you can have is that if someone doesn't make a selection with this auto attendant in the menu, then the call is just going to drop. Okay, so you do want to have an operator. It could go to someone else. So voice app is like another auto attendant or a call queue. I won't go in every single detail here. I'll probably do a whole separate video on just setting up an auto attendant, and I'll link it here. But this is just the basics to get you started. Usually you'll just have maybe like a receptionist. Okay, so let's do person in organization. So if no one makes a selection, it basically goes to the operator, the receptionist. So let's say that's Diana. Great. So our time zone, language, and there's a ton here. Sorry, and let's give a name. Okay, so this is the main, we can call main auto attendant. And then call flow. So typically, play an audio file. This is like you can record yourself and say, hey, welcome to Apex One Tech. Thanks for calling. Or you can have, Microsoft's AI voice here generate something for you. You can do something like you reached Apex One Tech. Okay, so that's your main greeting message. Now call routing. Okay, so what happens after this, right? It doesn't actually ring to anyone yet. So we can either directly redirect the call. That's usually not what you want to do. Sometimes you can do a voice app, and if you had a call queue set up, maybe it goes to a group of people. Okay, so that's one thing. But most likely you want to play menu options. So here, again, for the menu options, you can either record your own audio file or have it speak to text basically here. One thing I'll recommend is that if you're doing a greeting message here already as well, you don't need to do one here. And that's because it just adds a unnecessary delay between the two greeting messages. So I would actually take this out, put that here, and say no greeting there, okay? Play menu options. Now, if you have voice disabled, voice inputs disabled from the previous general info step, then we don't have to do force listen, right? We don't have to wait for it to list out all the menu options because we can just hit number 1 for sales or something, okay? So here, you'll just want to have your initial greeting and then, spell out who to dial, for example. Okay, so I just created a sample here. You could say, please listen to the following options, but I just cut that off to make it shorter, right? Press 1 for, this group. So like an IT help desk. Maybe for a new inquiry, it's 2. If they want to reach me directly, they can press 3, something like that. Office manager 0. Okay, so now though, once you establish kind of what the cloud flow you want, you need to set the actual dial keys here. So as I mentioned before, you do want an operator set up. So first, click assign a dial key, and you need 0 to be the operator. So whoever you had assigned in the previous step is who is assigned here as well. Okay, so you'll just go through and assign all the other ones. So for example, this could be a group of people, and I'm not going to show here exactly how to set that up, but if you do person and organization, you see that. In this instance, if this was an IT help desk, this will be a call queue. It probably goes to several agents. So I would do voice app, and then I would have to have that call queue set up first. But again, maybe see up on the screen right now a video on how to set this all up or in the description. Okay, and maybe if you're like a very small business, you just want to, have maybe sort of like extensions for each person. So 1 for me, 1 for 2, press 2 for another user. So if you're doing that, you just select person in organization and then just start typing in the name. So myself here. Okay, and then again, next key. So 2 will be Marion. Again, person. Now in this step, if you did not successfully enable voice, you will see a warning message at the top, okay, that this user is not enabled, okay? So you'll want to go back to that PowerShell commands that we did in order to enable that user for Teams Phone. Okay, so for directory search for now, we just do none. Okay, we don't want and you want to just reach anyone from here, from this auto attendant. But again, look for more details, watch the other videos I have for this. Let's just go next. Okay, so for business hours, if you're kind of set up in a way where you want the end users to control when they get called or not, then you just have this on open 24/7. So if someone calls on the weekend, it's still going to ring their number, unless they have some kind of do not disturb turned on, something like that. Otherwise, you can actually set business hours, right? Like 8 to 5, Sundays off, Saturday. Then if they call on a Sunday, for example, you can have different options, different routing options here. So if if you want to be open all the time, let me just show you what you do here. So no greeting, right? So set up after hour call flow. It actually doesn't matter for you. None of these options matter because you're open 24/7. Okay. So this is kind of option 1. So option 2. Okay. So let's say maybe you have like 8 to 5:30, Monday through Friday. So you could set that up, and now you decide what to do outside of those hours. So again, you can have a different message like, hey, you reached us outside our business hours. We're now closed. And then after that, you can decide what to do. And again, maybe if you do want to be open 24/7, you can also do this and just quickly set that to open 24/7. So we'll do open 24/7. So this all kind of doesn't matter, but I'll just keep it clean. Let's go next. So this is just more details. Again, custom kind of call routing, call flow options during the holidays that you can set. And again, this is the dial scope. So maybe you want only a specific list of users that are searchable. That's what you do here, but let's skip all that. Okay, so we could add the resource account here, but I'll just show you how to do that elsewhere. And then let's click submit. Okay, so we don't have a resource account linked. And just to save a couple steps, we can add a phone number and a resource account to the auto attendant in one step here. So let's go to voice. Let's go back to our resource account. So resource accounts, select it here with the check mark and click assign, unassign. So first choose the phone number type, and it's going to be from our calling plan that we purchased, the pay as you go. Okay, so here's that one phone number that we have. And it's only going to show you the ones that are, that you purchased correctly, the ones that's for an auto attendant toll. And as you see that, right, it actually already knows that this is for an auto attendant. So let's click save to that. And then we can click here again, assign, unassign, and then search for the auto attendant that you made. So ours was called main auto attendant, add, save. All right, so now we're licensed and we have a phone number associated, and it's paired to the auto attendant. And we can double check that by going to auto attendant here, and let's refresh. And we do see that we have a resource account. It's active. We can go back in here to edit. You can edit all those call flow options here. Otherwise, just cancel or do whatever changes you need to and click. We'll also see the resource account here. Okay, so next we have a couple, like 3 policies that we need to create, including the emergency routing number. So I'm gonna try to do this here, avoid PowerShell as much as possible. So let's see if we'll be able to do that here. So let's go to, again, we're in the Teams Admin Center, voice, and now we need to make a voice routing policy. Okay, so you should see this ad right here. Okay, so this is just our shared calling voice routing policy. And then we just say what this is for. We're routing the shared calling auto attendant. We're not adding any PSTN, and just click save. So you could go here to this new policy we have, select it and click assign and search for each user, right? And add them like this. But this will take a while, especially if you have more, and we have more policies to do as well. So we won't do that, and I'll show you later how to go to users, and we'll bulk assign to every user all 3 of the new policies that we'll make. Okay, next we're going to have an emergency routing policy. First, we're going to double check that we have a emergency location set up, and that's in Teams Admin. And we'll go to locations, emergency addresses. In our first steps, you should have set one up here. But if you didn't, you can go ahead and do that here just by clicking add. You put in your address, you kind of give it a name, description, okay, like I have here. So this is our Sacramento one. And if we have, if we need to make more, if we have more employees, you can add more addresses here. Okay, next, we actually need a separate phone number that we need to acquire for the emergency callback number. So we'll go again to voice phone numbers, and we'll just purchase one more. This one's a little bit different. It's a different type of number, so you can call this maybe shared emergency for emergency callback. Okay, so again, just search for your location. And this time you actually select user or subscriber for this one. So again, Microsoft is our operator, right? We can actually get 25 of these with the licensing we have, but we just need one. And so here again, we type in our emergency address location, then just select the area code if you have an option for that, and click next. Okay, so it gave us another number. Great. Let's place the order and finish. Okay, so now we do have a second phone number, and we're going to now define that as our emergency, like 911 number. Okay, so we go to voice and emergency policies. Then we actually want to go here to this tab called call routing policies. And it should say add here, or you click this menu. There we go, add. So I will call this maybe like shared, again, emergency 911 for callback. Okay, dynamic emergency calling, yes. So this just means that kind of in sequence, Microsoft will first try to determine your actual location, then they will use the emergency address location. So we want to add a number. What's our number? It's 911, right? So if someone's dialing 911 on our, with their Teams app, and we don't want any PSTN, nothing here, right? So this is give an example of typical emergency numbers. And if you just want to see what that says, here's that for you, like I described. And then just click save. Great, so we have the shared emergency number. And just for the record, right? So again, this does need to be assigned to users. So there's the second policy that needs to be assigned, but we'll do that at the end. And the last policy we need to make here is called the shared calling policy. So unfortunately, we do have to go back to PowerShell to make this work. I did try for you guys all different ways to make this work here in the Teams Admin Center, but it just would not work. So we want to get PowerShell back up. On Windows, again, just open PowerShell. If you did close it, on a Mac in Terminal, you'll want to type that command in again. And also, now on both PC and Mac, we want to connect back to Microsoft Teams just to make sure we're connected. Put in connect-Microsoft Teams. And that's going to prompt you to sign back in. It's going to open your browser. So just same thing as before, log in to your admin account. Okay, and after it prompts you to close the browser, you're all logged in. We first need to define an emergency address for our resource account. Okay, so these hashtags, that's not really part of the code. It just explains to you what's happening. So we want to pull up our resource account, right, that you made before, the email address. You could check in voice, go to Teams, right, voice and resource accounts. If you forgot what that was, so just replace that. What's in bold, the quotes here stay. And then we want to get the phone number that we had acquired. That's what this line means here. Okay, then here we just get the emergency location. So the city, this is the city that you have defined. Okay, so this in bold, you'll change to whatever you have in your emergency address. And this is not the description of it, but the actual city. So actually in my case, I called it Sacramento, but it's really Citrus Heights. And you can check this by going to the Teams Admin Center. So go to locations, emergency addresses. And you see here I have the actual, in the description I call it Sacramento, but you want the city that's actually listed there. So in my case it's Citrus Heights, so that's what we'll put in there. And now we'll just copy this entire thing here. So copy that, paste. Okay, so the awesome thing here of PowerShell, right, which is why I don't like using it. So in this case, a good lesson here, if your actual city has a space in it, you can't just enter in the city name. You actually need to have it in the single quotes here, and then that will work. So just make sure you do that, or else you'll run into a bunch of errors. Okay, so that's that. Now next, we can now finally create that shared calling policy. So we need to define this emergency number. So this is the emergency phone number or emergency callback number that we're defining. So this was that second number that we purchased for the emergency callback number. And if you're not sure, let me just show you where to verify which one it is. If you're in the admin center, Teams admin, voice, phone numbers, And then you'll see the two numbers we purchased. And if you scroll to the right, your emergency one is the one that's not assigned. Okay, so this is assigned to that resource account, auto attendant. And the second one you'll see is not assigned. So that's your emergency number. Okay, so then we get the resource account here back. And now we're actually creating this new shared calling policy and identity. So here, just the name, whatever we want to call it. So I'm just calling it main shared calling. And it's attaching this callback number, emergency callback number. Okay, so again, we can just copy that. In fact, even just that. Okay, so it was after a second for this last line, you just hit return. Just don't forget to do that. Okay, when it's successful, it should tell you something like this, okay? So right, our main shared calling, that's the name, that's the emergency number, and it has some kind of ID of our resource account. And now, I'm pretty sure we're done with PowerShell. So you could quit it. You could also like sign out essentially. So disconnect from Microsoft Teams, hit return. Great, disconnected. We'll just close that. Finally, the last thing is we will assign all those three policies to all the users that are going to be a part of this shared calling. So we go to users in Teams Admin Center, manage users. So let's select, you just select the ones that are going to be a part of this. So myself, Diana, and Marion. Then you click edit settings. And then we look for, so the first thing on the list here is the shared calling policy. So it's whatever you called it. Here's the one we just made, right? Called main shared calling. Then we scroll down to emergency call routing policy. Okay, so not this one, but specifically this one. And that's the one that we created. And finally, the last thing, voice routing policy. Shared calling voice routing policy, also the one we created. So now we have the three sets. We hit apply. It will take some time. That's what it's telling you. So the sometime means usually like an hour with a decent sized group. You know, the changes are applied, but it takes for the entire system, the phone system to be set up properly, that you can actually dial and check this, about an hour. And worst case, usually 24 hours, okay? So we'll let us do this thing, and then I'll come back here and we'll verify that this all works. All right, so I'm back here on another day. So I'm sure everything should be now set up and working, and just showing you how I have the auto attendant, the call flow set up. So we'll do a test of the external call. So an external call coming into your business, how is that going to look like? Okay, so I'm calling from Google Voice just so you can see on the desktop, but this is exactly the same as it would be if you're calling from your mobile device. So someone calling to your business. So that's the phone number, the business phone number we have. So let's call and listen in.
Press 1 for Bogdan. Press 2 for Marion. Press 0 for the office manager.
Okay, so it just read through that greeting message that we had. So now I can make a selection. So let's go ahead. It's going to repeat this menu three times, by the way, before it goes to the operator vote. Let's go ahead and press 1.
Press 2 for Marion. Press 0 for the office manager. Please wait while your call is being transferred.
Okay, test. Okay, so it's echoing through. You see into my Teams app on desktop. Let's turn this off. Check. Okay, so I just received the call from the external number. No problem. It called into my desktop app. It will call the same onto my mobile device. And if I had a desk phone, it'll ring a desk phone at the same time. So I can answer on any of those three. Great, we know that it works now. We'll do one more test and we'll call it the other way around. Okay, so now you open up your Teams app on your desktop, on your phone, or on your desk phone, and just dial an external number. So something outside your organization. Let's do the same number. There we go, let's place a call. Okay, so there, it's ringing right here. Actually, I can answer right here. Test. Bogdan.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Test. Okay, so we have the echo established. So again, I dialed in this number. That's who I'm talking to. And you see what's the important thing here is that it shows that for this user, so this is the external user here, the caller ID is that business phone number. Okay, so no matter who's dialing out, it's always going to show your business phone number. And that's just how it works. Hit the like button and subscribe if you learned something new. If you have questions about this on how to set up, or if something went wrong, let me know. I'll try to help you out. And if you're able to set this up, let me know as well. That'll be good to know this helps you. Also, see the description for additional videos on how to set up a more advanced auto attendant with call queues as well. Thanks for watching. Take care.